Hello everybody, I'm Krasi, and today I will talk about a very important celestial event, and which is Rahu, the lunar node, the head of the dragon entering Gemini. In a previous video I spoke about Ketu entering Sagittarius, which will be quite long transit, of course. This will happen approximately on around the 19th of February, and they will finish this transit somewhere in September 2020. So we will be experiencing their complex natures in the axis of Sagittarius, Gemini for quite some time. Therefore, this is a very important transit. Especially important it will become when Ketu meets Saturn. Before that, let's see what the energies of the lunar nodes will bring. I spoke about Ketu, so let's speak about Rahu in Gemini. First of all, let's say that my knowledge is based on the ancient Babylonian astrology. The ancients were aware, of course, of the existence of the lunar node, since they were experts in analyzing eclipses, and the eclipses were amazing phenomena that were always associated with omens, and they would play important role, especially when predicting future events for the country and for the king. So I mentioned this briefly when speaking about Ketu, but for those of you who didn't see this video, the ancients knew about the heavenly dragon, and this can be seen in the mythological texts, in the creation myth, and many mythological texts from Babylon, but especially interesting is the text which is about Tiamat. First, what is the dragon on the sky? We have a very large dragon on the sky, very much influencing our destinies. And this dragon is taking huge portion also from the zodiac, because you can see the dragon, the celestial dragon code at that time, and now we know it as Hydra. So we see the celestial dragon taking a portion of Libra and going completely through Cancer. And this celestial dragon was Tiamat, and it was a dragon that was defeated by Marduk, Jupiter, and it was defeated so that Marduk saves humanity. There is another myth which is about Ningirshzida, the dragon who was there to save the tree of life, and this is our DNA. And the DNA, of course, is about our roots, our linkage to the past and the future, and the lunar nodes are about this, past and the future. So this is just a brief introduction on how the ancients perceived the lunar nodes. Of course, there is so much amazing information in the Vedic texts, really amazing. Rahu. Rahu enters Gemini. Who is Rahu? Rahu is the head of the dragon. You know, the dragon is split into two parts. We have Rahu, who is aiming towards who is having the illusions, who is having the desires, who is having the dreams, who is about the creativity, intellectual capabilities. And Rahu has very much of Mercurian properties, but in a different sense. Mercurian, but with this sense of that Uranus would add, and Neptunus, because Rahu is very creative. Rahu in its lower vibrations can be very much about deceptions and illusions. Therefore, there are some versions that Rahu resembles the natures, or has the natures of conjunction of Uranus and Neptune, and of course he is very much like Mercury. How Rahu will influence each one of us separately depends on the evolution of the soul of each one of us, because these are planets very much about the deep levels, about depth. They are shadow planets, they are invisible. There are these sections of the ecliptic which the moon is crossing. So there are no such planets. They are about our depth, the depth of the human soul. So how they will influence us depends on how they are placed in the natal charts of each one of us. This is very, very important, of course, and on the level of the evolution of the soul of each one of us. So this is the key for understanding them. It is not the same when you would analyze what Venus would bring us or what Saturn would bring us, because they have clear energies, clear path, and we can predict. But with Rahu and Ketu, the case is not the same, because they are very much about the evolution of the soul, and it is really so. The same is valid for both of them. Since they are sharing the same axis, they also influence each other. Let's not forget that when Rahu is entering Gemini, he will, for quite some time, until they are there, he will receive not only the opposition of his brother Ketu, but the opposition of Saturn. And this is what the difference will be during this particular transit, but this will be so significant and will happen quite somewhere in May when they will join. And let's talk about this really separately. First, what are the energies that we can expect to experience? Now, Rahu is the desire of the human soul to achieve things, to strive for. It is illusionary. It is about what to be achieved and done in this incarnation, in this karma, though we know that Ketu is about the past life. Some would connect Rahu with Jupiter, but I don't agree very much with this. But Jupiter and Mercury are the planets that can soften a lot the influences of Rahu. Therefore, when you will be looking at Rahu and Ketu, look how Rahu is being aspected or influenced by Jupiter on Mercury. This is very important. It is also known that wherever the lunar nodes enter, they receive pretty much of the energies of this particular sign. So Rahu is entering a friendly sign, because Gemini is a sign very much resembling his own nature. And this is the nature of intellectuality, creativity, all mental capabilities and activities, of course. Rahu can be also the planet of confusion. He can be not only about deception, but also about confusion. This is part of his nature. It is, therefore, again, very important is how we will be doing on spiritual level, how on what level our vibrations will be at that particular time, and the level of consciousness. So it is the planet which can create fears or can bring knowledge, because we are talking about Rahu, who has the nature that resembles Mercury, but this particular taste of change, of Uranus, of striving for new, and is entering the sign of Gemini, a friendly sign, which is wonderful. So it is about duality. Either we will be very much knowledgeable, we will be striving for obtaining new knowledge, opening our eyes towards new level of consciousness, understanding how the world and the matrix works, and receiving information about knowledge that was hidden, or we will give ourselves up to fears, because this is one of the natures of Rahu. Rahu can be very much about, Ketu does the same, but in a different trend. So Rahu can be very much about fears and even mental diseases. So this is up to us. Either we will do a lot of knowledge-based work of creativity, enhancing our knowledge, deepening our insights, uplifting our level of consciousness, or we'll be giving ourselves to fears. We will just give ourselves to deception, to to what Rahu is capable of creating, because he can create environment that can be untrustworthy, or can be shady, deceitful, very shady and very dark, or it can be very much about light and intellect. So it will be either intellect or deceit, lack of knowledge, mirage, all this, which is the dark part of the matrix, because that we live in, because Rahu is representing the politics, diplomacy, technology. How useful the technology is, I'm not sure, because the technology is separating us from the source, from our higher self. So when I'm talking about Rahu, we can opt for the knowledge which is not purely technological, which is the knowledge of that the soul will be striving for. So there is a big difference that we have to make. Rahu is about politics, diplomacy, and all these kinds of deceitful actions. So which path the soul will be taking will be determining how Rahu and Ketu, especially in this particular time we're talking about Rahu, how in particular he will be influencing us. Of course, his influences are not easy, and the ancients wouldn't consider Rahu easy, but again, it depends on us. If, for example, Rahu can bring a lot of, depends of course on each one of us, but Rahu is a friend with Saturn, Mercury, and Venus, and it is considered to be enemy of the Sun and the Moon. So let's hope that the particular opposition later on, when he will have exact opposition with Saturn, let's hope that this particular opposition will be not a very harmful one. So what will happen if you have Gemini on your ascendant? You may strive for new knowledge, and since you're searching for knowledge, you will receive it, because Rahu is very, very intellectual and very, very, very much like Uranus. There will be this risk that you fall into this small deceptional part of Rahu, so be aware of this, or fall for knowledge that will be illusionary, or not really the one that you need in order your level of consciousness to be uplifted. So use your intuition, because Rahu is also about intuition. If Rahu is on your second house, of course, I'm just giving an overview. It depends how your own Rahu is placed in the chart. But if Rahu is on your is transiting over your second house, it's very probably that you have some financial benefits from this. If Rahu is on your third house, no doubt that he will put you on to strive towards knowledge. Rahu is also associated with traveling abroad. Often people who would have Rahu on the first house would also be living away from their native country. So could be that Rahu on the third house will be about traveling abroad, researching into new insights, knowledges. Rahu on the third is also very much about intuition, enhancing your intuition. On the fourth house, Rahu can mean that you may have benefits for your home. Again, depends how Rahu is placed. Could be a benefit or not that beneficial. Rahu on the fifth can create opportunities for new love, but also be careful, because he has this deceptional nature. That is why we can say that he is very much like Uranus and Neptune, because the lower vibrations of Neptune can be very much about illusion, mirage, deception, but the higher vibrations and of Neptune are very much about beauty, the finest of the finest artistic features of the soul. So it is again up to the evolution of the soul. It can be love, it can be creativity, it can be knowledge that will make you pleased. On the 6th house, be conscious with your health. He can put you in condition when you would be a bit competitive. Maybe, again, depends. 7th house can be, he can bring some new, he can introduce changes into your personal life, can make you strive for entering a relationship, can, if depends how Rahu is placed in your natal chart, but also can be a reason for having new contracts or new relationships, or new people can come into your life. So there are many options. On the 8th house can make you desire, dig into the secret knowledges, can make you interested in esoterics, can make you obtain some unexpected money through will or other unexpected deeds. Can be many things. Can make you over obsessed by death, for example. So there are many options. Rahu in the 9th is a very interesting place. He can make you travel, he can make you study, he can make you teach others, he can make you extremely intuitive suddenly, or experiencing interesting esoteric or intuitive events which you're not used to, for example. Or he can make you plan new studies or new beginnings. So Rahu in the 9th can be also very interesting. In the 10th, he can make you strive for career, or make changes, or introduce changes in your career, or your career can suddenly become boring, or you would decide to make change, and some changes would be possible. Again, depends on the natal chart. So these are only very basic details that I'm giving you, but when you look at your charts, you will certainly see much more. Then on the 11th house, Rahu can be very, again, depends, but Rahu can be positive in terms of your finances, can be interesting in terms of achieving your plans, or can introduce changes with related to the people which surround you, good or bad. On the 12th house, be aware a little bit with your, of course, with your health, and not only can make you desire for isolation, can suddenly awaken a desire to visit temples or to do empathic work. All this is wonderful. Can make you, can cause health disharmonies. Depends on the level of your soul, and depends on how Rahu and Ketu are placed in your natal chart. So when Rahu will enter Sagittarius, it can be so that we will hear about new inventions, new technology, because this will be very welcoming place for Rahu. And Rahu is representing this part of the intellectual features of our contemporary reality, which I definitely don't consider positive, because the more we enter the world of technology, the less connected we are with the source. So this is this part of Rahu that can be not positive and even harmful for us. So when Rahu enters Gemini, Gemini is the sign of the two heavenly twins, and these are Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Gilgamesh is the one which is Martian, represented by the star Pollux, and Enkidu is the one which is the spiritual one. So Rahu entering Gemini, it will be either very much about the Martian qualities, which can be not very easy and a bit harmful, because Mars is considered even enemy of Rahu, or he can go for the spiritual qualities of Enkidu. When Rahu enters Gemini, almost immediately or a week after his entrance, he will meet the star Pollux, which has pure Martian characteristics. And this may be a bit, this particular timing can have these Martian features when we will have, when we will experience the energies of Rahu in this not very easy way, not very spiritual way. So again, but the Martian way, which can lead towards not the most spiritual features of Rahu, but the ones that we may not benefit from the most. So later on, further on, he will enter the degrees of Enkidu, and then let's hope that it will not be only about technology, intellectuality, but will be about knowledge, intuition also, and it will be about uplifting our level of consciousness and spirituality. So let me finalize with this, and soon I will analyze how in particular the conjunction of Ketu and Saturn will influence us, and also how their opposition will influence Rahu, of course. And I will include in my analysis the 12 zodiacal signs, so that you know what to expect. But in general, don't forget, it is really so that if we stay on high level of consciousness, if our souls are maintaining high vibrations, it means that we don't give up ourselves to fears, to extreme technological interference in our life, but only the needed. I am certain that we will have not bad, but even good transit of Rahu and Ketu that we can benefit from, that we can even ease up our karma, maintain our intuition or improve it. And it can be a pretty interesting journey. I would rather see it as a good transit, and would certainly not give myself up to fears. Thank you.